You know that moisturizer you used this morning? Well, before it ever touched your skin, it went on this incredible scientific journey. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and go from the lab to the label, uncovering the entire life story of a skincare product, from the very first drop in a beaker to that final expiration date. Let's dive in.
Right? It seems like such a simple question, but the answer is this amazing mix of chemistry, biology, and some seriously rigorous testing. We're going to decode that whole story piece by piece.
Okay, so every great product starts with a great recipe. You can honestly think of it like baking a cake. You need exactly the right ingredients and just the right amounts to get that perfect texture and the perfect result. In the world of cosmetics, this is the formulation stage.
And if you look here, you can see that every single ingredient has a very specific job. You've got your oils and waxes that give you that smooth, luxurious feel. Then there are humectants, like glycerin, which are basically little moisture magnets for your skin. And preservatives? Oh, they are the unsung heroes, fighting off bacteria to keep the product safe from the second you open it.
But here's where we hit a classic problem in chemistry. Oil and water, they just don't mix. So what's the solution? An emulsifier. It is the magic ingredient that grabs onto both and holds them together. And to go back to our cake analogy, this is like the egg in your batter. It binds everything into a perfectly smooth cream instead of, a separated, oily mess. All right, so we've got our recipe down, but now we have to make sure the kitchen is absolutely spotless. In cosmetics, keeping a product free from harmful microbes isn't just important, it is completely 100% non-negotiable. And the scary truth is, contamination can sneak in from almost anywhere. The raw materials themselves, especially water, can carry microbes. The air in the facility, the equipment, even the people working in the lab are all potential sources. Seriously, every single step is a risk that has to be carefully managed. So, how do they fight back against all these invisible threats? Well, they use a multi-layered defense. They sterilize the raw materials, they use those hero preservatives we mentioned, and they follow these super strict protocols called Good Manufacturing Practices, or GMP for short. Then, the final step is often something called aseptic filling, which means they package the product in a totally sterile environment. It's this whole comprehensive strategy just to ensure purity.
This number right here, this is the bottom line. It stands for less than 1,000 colony-forming units per gram. Basically, it's the absolute maximum number of tiny microbes allowed for a product to be considered safe. Any more than that, and it doesn't leave the lab. It is a strict, no-nonsense pass-or-fail test. Okay, so the product is mixed, and we know it's pure. But now we get to the biggest question of all. Is it safe for our skin? How do scientists make sure it's not going to cause irritation or, even worse, an allergic reaction?
For decades, this question was answered using animal tests. But thankfully, science has evolved a lot. Today, the gold standard is using these amazing lab-grown models of human skin, called reconstructed human epidermis. Not only are these way more ethical, but they also give much more accurate results because, well, they're models of human skin, not rabbit skin.
And this table kind of breaks down how scientists ask different questions about safety. The patch test, which is done on human volunteers, looks for that surface-level stuff, like redness or itching. But to check for a potential allergy, you've got to go deeper. The LLNA, for example, uses a model to see if an ingredient triggers a full-on immune response. Each test reveals a different, crucial piece of the safety puzzle. So our product is pure. It's proven to be safe on skin. Awesome. But now it faces a brand new enemy. Time. A cream has to stay stable and effective not just for a day, but for months and even years on a shelf and in your bathroom.
This is where something called stability testing comes in. It's this super rigorous process that's designed to guarantee that the product you buy a year from now will have the exact same quality, safety, and performance as the one that just rolled off the production line today.
And what are they testing against? Pretty much the elements. Extreme heat can make a cream separate into a goopy mess. UV light can make it change color or even go bad. Humidity can encourage nasty stuff to grow. Even the oxygen in the air can break down the active ingredients. This is literally a battle against nature. So what does this testing actually look like? Well, it's a long-term protocol. As you can see in this timeline, they start at 0 months and they record a baseline for all the product's properties, its color, its smell, its texture. Then they retest at these key checkpoints, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and a full year, meticulously checking for any tiny changes. But let's be real, who has years to wait for results? That's why scientists use this brilliant shortcut called accelerated testing. They basically put the product into a hot environment around 40 degrees Celsius, which speeds up the aging process. It's like a time machine. This gives them a really good prediction of long-term stability in just 3 to 6 months. Then, they confirm those results with longer, real-time tests under normal conditions.
So, after all of this, how does it all come together? All of this data, from purity tests, skin safety tests, and all those stability trials, it all leads to one final, crucial piece of information that gets printed on the label.
And that is the shelf life. It is so much more than just a random date. It's a scientific guarantee. It's a promise that for this entire period, the product will perform exactly as it's supposed to and, most importantly, it will be safe for you to use.
So what's the final verdict? Well, based on all that painstaking stability data, most cosmetic products land on a shelf life of about 24 to 36 months. That's 2 to 3 years of scientifically backed quality assurance packed into every single bottle.
So what's the takeaway for you? First, know that an expiration date is earned through science. It's not just a guess. Second, remember that the packaging isn't just for looks. It is a critical part of that whole safety system. And finally, trust your senses. If a product ever changes color or starts to smell weird or the texture gets funky, that's a huge sign that its stability is gone and it's time to toss it.
At the end of the day, every single label tells this incredible story of meticulous science, from the first idea to the final safety check. So the next time you pick up a product, you'll know the wild journey it took to get to you. What part of that story will you look for first?